Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Ultimate Comics Podcast. My name is Nabeel Gaber, and I'm one of your hosts.
And I'm Josh Kang, the other host.
And this is the podcast where we talk about Ultimate Marvel, an imprint of Marvel Comics that began in the year 2000 that was intended to modernize and reimagine Marvel and its characters for the 21st century. Josh and I, every episode, will talk about another batch of issues from the original Ultimate Marvel imprint. So Ultimate Spider-Man, we'll go through Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Fantastic Four, yada yada yada. And this time, actually, we're starting a new crossover. That's this miniseries Ultimate Nightmare, issues 1 through 5. And so we'll be talking about what we like, what we don't like so much, what holds up, what hasn't aged so well, and just the broader impact that this has on Marvel and Marvel's comics and the animation and movies and TV and things like that. Josh, what do you think of these issues?
I really like these issues. We mentioned this crossover, and you and I just talked about this, but I didn't think it needed to be a crossover. It's really just fine as like a Winter Soldier, like the movie, not the book, comic, where like they're just going on a mystery with the not the street level characters, but like the spy characters: Fury,
Right.
Sam, Natasha, Steve.
Yeah, for context, this miniseries is kind of a crossover between the Ultimates and the X-Men, albeit just a handful of Ultimates and a handful of the X-Men. So you have Captain America, Black Widow, Nick Fury, and we also see the introduction of the Falcon to the Ultimate Universe in this storyline. And then you
They
also have the X-Men, so you have Jean Grey, Wolverine, and Colossus.
But they don't do anything, except maybe Colossus. And I feel the Falcon we get in this comic is the basis for the MCU Falcon, more than the 616.
Yeah, you can see a lot of the basis there, like in these issues, because it is very much like he's a military man. It's very stripped down to he's got the metal wings, but no colorful costume or anything. He doesn't have birds that he talks to, like his pet bird, Red Wing. He is literally just a guy with wings, with an intense military background, and that's what we go with.
He's an engineer and scientist too,
Yes,
which
exactly, which
I
serves
it's
the plot very well.
that's not a thing in 616, right?
No, yeah, he's a social worker in
Yeah,
616 originally. So,
yeah, that's what I remember. But if you watch the animations of Falcon, they always make him engineer or a scientist, and I think it's because of this comic.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that is a pretty helpful skill set to have, especially when you're dealing with a lot of the sci-fi black ops, but also like espionage and also military-esque plot lines, like thrillers of these comics and of the adaptations in movies and TV and animation. So it makes sense rather than a social worker, which would not aid the plot very well.
Yeah, I will say I do like the idea of a social worker becoming a superhero because I'm like we need more humanities majors, man.
Yeah,
Not everyone has to be
yeah,
an engineer. Also,
yeah,
I've met engineers. I'm not saying they're all bad, but they're kind of cold at times.
yeah. Don't get me wrong. I love Sam Wilson as a social worker in the comics, and I like him fighting in Harlem back in the 70s and 80s and being a very street level hero, and I think that's super cool. But I can see why also they went for more emphasis on the military and also like linguistics and decoding kind of background that they give him in this one.
I'm okay with the military thing. I think it really fits. I just want him to be military and have a social work degree.
Yeah, that would add some complexity for sure.
Yeah, and no more of these engineer superheroes. I'm tired of these engineer superheroes.
Yeah, you tell them we need fewer superheroes in STEM.
We need less tech bro superheroes and more poet superheroes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more humanities poets, like more history majors.
like Daredevil. I don't know what he studied, but law kind of counts on. Let's just assume.
Yeah, you can be a history major and be pre-law.
Yeah. We Daredevil, and that's kind of it. Amanda Waller,
Yeah, a shining role model, Amanda Waller.
damn right. She rose up the ranks. From like in a really tough. Yeah.
Anyways, let's just get right into these issues. We got a lot of ground to cover here. This is written by Warren Ellis with art by Trevor Hairsine, who did the art for Ultimate 6. So there is some continuity there in terms of creativity. So we have people who have written and illustrated for Ultimate before. This begins in 1904 in the Tungus River Valley. And so this is based on actual like real life events in history.
Yeah.
where we see these men who are in Russia and they see this giant like flying object land, and there's this giant explosion. It's like a meteorite that lands and rips everything up. It creates a giant crater in the ground. It's kind of crazy. And this is based on in the Tungus River Valley at same time there was kind of like an unexplained like
Explosion.
explosion in that
That
area.
we do believe is, I think, from my brief googling of this, it is believed to have been like something from space, like an asteroid or a meteor.
Yeah, exactly. And it did do a lot of damage and leave a huge crater in the ground. And that was like a pretty famous or infamous, like historical event that is then inserted into the story, which I think is pretty cool. I didn't even
Yeah,
know about this until we read this and looked it up afterwards.
yeah. It's like there's a lot of historical novels, a lot of like weird sci-fi and conspiracy speculation about it too, which is really interesting.
Yeah, and this is one of them. This is going to explain in terms of the ultimate Marvel universe, Earth 1610, exactly what happened here.
What is up with like 616? I get 616. It's an easy name. 1610, that's a hard name. And was the MCU was like 1666666 or something?
What was MCU's designation is crazy. It's like got a lot of nines, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's arbitrary. I can't like maybe we can look it up later and see exactly how and why they chose those names, but it feels very arbitrary, not too intentional.
We cut to 1927. Soviet troops are checking, and they said like, "Oh, the local Evenki shaman thinks it's magic and it's causing people to get sick." So the Evenki chief shut it down. I looked that up. That's like a real indigenous group in that area, which is whoever did this did a lot of research.
Yeah, no, they definitely did a
Yeah,
lot of research into this event
yeah,
before writing about it. And so, yeah, it said that anyone who goes near the crater gets poisoned and they get sick. And whether that's based in magic or whether that's based in science or probably both, honestly, as these
yeah,
things turn out to be,
yeah,
it's bad. And the Russian troops go in there and they go to the crater and they're shocked at what they see. They're like, oh my God. And we
yeah.
don't see what that is yet.
Until issue 5, I believe, is when we figure it out.
Yeah, it's going to be a slow burn on this, that's for sure.
You know, you said like magic or science. One thing I don't like about Marvel is they do, or I forget, I think it's Marvel that does it. They go like, science could do it, magic could do it worse, because that's like the thing with magic. It's not like, okay, but science could mean anything. I go like, science could explain how a tree grows. Does that mean like magic just doesn't work on trees, or doesn't work on trees as well as chainsaw? You know, that's always been my problem with the magic versus science thing. You know?
I don't really know too much about that, but it is interesting, I feel like, with the way that these things are written, that I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I feel like if there is some kind of like magical like peril, it can be explained scientifically. And I feel like vice
It's
versa.
I think yes, but like in Marvel, they actually try to separate science versus magic, and that just bothers me. I'm like,
One of my favorite episodes of Earth's Mightiest Heroes is when I think they adapt like the Malekith Casket of Ancient Winter storyline, and you have Iron Man and Thor constantly debating about magic and
oh,
science, and Iron Man saying everything is constantly like able to be explained by science, magic is not a thing, and Thor's like, well, maybe there's something that you just can't be able to explain and are just magical phenomenon. And I like that debate that they have because there are different aspects to the Marvel universe and different sides that you can explore through different avenues, whether that's magic or science.
I like that, but the comics just go it's separate, and that just bothers me. Is my
Yeah,
point? Yeah,
it depends, I guess, on who's writing it too,
yeah,
to be fair.
yeah,
But then in 2004, there's a teenager in North London. So this is closer to what was the present day at the time.
yeah.
She's yelling at her mom, like, hey, the telly isn't working, mom. And they talk about, you could tell that this is 2004 because they're talking about she's trying to watch MTV and her mom wants her to watch VH1.
And
And I'm
she goes
like,
like, I want to
wow,
watch. I want to watch Posh Spice. I'm like, Posh Spice is now a grandmother.
that's crazy to think about.
You want to know what else is crazy? People born in 2004 can vote and drink alcohol.
Oh my gosh. Ugh, don't remind me.
Yeah, I know. I'm bothered by it too. They're
I
21.
remember 2004, not vividly, but pretty well.
I remember 2004 as well because I thought John Kerry looked like Frankenstein, and I didn't want him to be president because I thought he'd eat people.
LOL. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
I
Well,
mean,
you
that's
got
the
your
way.
wish.
Look, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I hope you're happy with Bush's second term. Not I mean, worse things have happened since then, so that wasn't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
But hey, if we did get Carrie, maybe he would have eaten people. Who knows?
Yeah, like
Maybe we narrowly averted a tragic fate.
they're also on TV and there's just getting flashes of like apocalyptic images of aliens just dying on different planets.
Yeah, and this is being broadcast around the world. Everyone's seeing this footage at the same time of just alien life on other planets being exterminated. And then the screams that are heard are like the screams of dying babies.
Yeah.
And it's like horrific, these horrifying screams. And you cut to people around the world who just start killing themselves, which is awful. It's just like a real end of the world vibes.
It's like how in 2012 a lot of us, not me, thought the world was gonna end, and it was revealed that like NASA in 2013 said like, yeah, like 3 people killed themselves and their families.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah,
And yeah, this is like pretty much anytime someone thinks there is going to be an Armageddon or an apocalypse, like what will more often than not be the case.
yeah. We also meet some frat boys who think beer is a food or a soup, which is like, I
That's such a
understand them.
frat boy take. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's full of it's beer is made from grain, so it is like full of
Yeah.
carbs.
Barley.
Yeah,
That's some good soup right there. That's good eating.
I will say from personal experience, eat before you drink.
Yes, please. And drink plenty of water and hydrate before you drink. Please drink
Yeah,
responsibly and don't drink and
and
drive. That's our PSA for the episode.
yes, don't drink and drive, or you'll get
Hell
sent
yeah.
to the judge, and he'll like make you go to AA meetings for 2 months, and you're in like a locked room full of like alcoholics, and you go like, I don't deserve to be here. They have a messed up life. Mine's okay mostly compared to theirs.
Are you speaking from personal experience?
We can move on to Professor X.
Anyways, I don't know who that was about. But yeah, then we cut to Xavier's Institute in Westchester, and Jean is waking up in the middle of the night. Jean Grey, she's been like psychically alerted to this disaster. She's been having nightmares about all these aliens dying on these other worlds. And she wakes up, and Professor X says he's been having those same nightmares. He's already awake.
Yeah, and this is where we get to the dumb thing. So Professor X and Jean think this is a mutant in distress, and the first 2 issues are partially about them going, "We gotta save this poor mutant."
Yeah. He thinks it's like a mutant telepath, like a young, scared, confused telepath who's reaching out, like a classic X-Men tale where there's a young mutant whose powers have just manifested, tale as old as time, and they're crying for help, and the X-Men have to show up and rescue this
Yeah,
mutant and bring them back to the Xavier Institute, show them how to control their powers.
and while Professor X and Jean goes like, "We gotta save this kid," and they don't even check if this is a mutant. We get to Nick Fury, and Nick Fury's like, "This is annoying. We gotta exterminate this problem," and he says, "quote with extreme prejudice."
Yeah, because what's really funny, while the X-Men think it's a mutant problem, then Nick Fury is briefing Captain America and the Black Widow, and they're like, there's this signal emanating from Russia. So like, and Nick Fury's so funny because he's like, I didn't end the Cold War just to like go through something similar like that. Like it's like a top secret operation. He's briefing them on it. He's like, God damn it, I just ended the Cold War like a decade or two ago. Like, come on.
We're going back to Russia.
Yeah, really?
That's probably what like a bunch of generals said in like, what was it 2022?
Yeah, literally. Because they also do mention Putin in this.
Who's
He's
back?
like, yeah, literally. He's like, yeah, this is a top secret operation. We don't want to upset Mr. Putin. And I'm like, damn, that has aged a little too well because he's still here.
He quit and then he came back.
Yeah, he's been back. He's been back for a minute, man. It's been
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, my always thing is like, why do you want to be like all those wackos who want to be president, or like dictator? I'm like, I'm okay with being a dictator or a president, but I want to like have term limits. So I don't want to do this job forever. It kills you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like everyone gets
Give someone else a shot to be a dictator. Why
Yeah,
don't
just
you?
enjoy retirement with your giant like government-funded mansion. Also, but so the thing with Putin is they did let Putin know like we're gonna like invade your country, and he goes like, yeah, just make it small and keep it quiet.
Yeah.
And so Nick Fury is gathering his team, and Natasha's oh like Thor and Hulk and Iron Man would be great for this. And he goes like, no, we got to keep it small. So just you, me, Captain America. And they go like, what about a tech guy? We need Iron Man. He goes like, it's supposed to be small. Iron Man requires like hundreds of guys just to keep the suit going.
Yeah, like it's a whole operation just to like get him suited up, and like without the suit he's not good in a firefight. They need someone who's good in a firefight and in covert ops. Putting a giant suit of armor on is not covert.
And Nick Fury points out also this guy has like a brain problem. He might be like destroying a town one day and then just has a stroke.
That's true. Yeah, they don't even mention that.
Oh, they do
But
mention
yeah.
it. They go like, I forgot what they used. He uses a weird euphemism for it. Like I think, I forgot.
But instead, Fury's like, nah, I know another guy, like a technician. And then we get our first appearance of Sam Wilson, the Falcon, who
Yeah,
is in the Amazonian rainforest. He's
yeah,
doing like covert ops in the Amazonian rainforest. This is very much the inspiration for MCU Falcon because he's got the
yeah.
same look as him, no colorful costume, just the wings and like a very tactical suit.
Military background, as we mentioned, and a
Yeah,
technical
exactly.
background,
Yeah.
which we also mentioned that he doesn't have in the MCU, but he has in like every other universe since then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, totally.
yeah,
But the next issue starts with Colossus at the Xavier Institute giving an insight to the Tunguska River Valley area, and he's talking about it, which is cool. I think what I like about these issues is that like Colossus and Black Widow very much play a major role as like the resident like Russian teammates, like giving like their expertise on things, which is like hell yeah, go Russians.
I understand Natasha, but like, would Peter be the best one? Because like, imagine you're in like France and they go like, Nabeel, tell us about Minnesota. We're gonna like invade Minnesota. Tell us all about Minnesota. Would you give a good answer?
I'd be like, yeah, Minnesota, it's freezing cold. It's so cold.
Yeah, but Peter gives like a detailed explanation. Oh, it's hit by an asteroid. We don't know if it's a curse or if it's like military experiments or magic. And also, it's
Well,
like
he
really,
knows. He knows the answers. He's
yeah.
like,
But like,
hey,
how would you know? Like, if you go like Josh, we're gonna invade New Mexico. What do you know about New Mexico? We heard there's aliens there. I go like, I don't know. I think there's like meth there too. I saw a movie once
I
or a
know
show.
about my brother-in-law's from New Mexico. I know
Oh,
about New
really?
Mexico. Yeah,
The tree
it's
guy?
like, yeah. Well, yeah, because like prickly pears are abundant there. He runs the annual like prickly pear festival that he started there.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a
That's him?
desert.
I've
Yeah,
I've been to the Prickly Pear Festival.
yeah. That he's the guy who organizes it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like New Mexico. I almost died there. So
Anyways, I'm not going to mention that to Will. But yeah, you met him too. I can't
I've
believe.
met him.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
crazy. You
it's
never mentioned
crazy.
that you went to the Prickly Pear Festival and you hated it.
I know I didn't hate it. I just noticed it, and then I almost died an hour later from different reasons.
Well, anyways, Colossus gives an insight to this area, Tunguska River Valley, which is basically the outback. And he's saying, yeah, we're not sure what's going on there. People who go in end up getting sick or dying.
Yeah,
And he's like, it's not fit for like a place for a young mutant to develop their powers because they have like no resources to handle that. Like best case scenario, they're really just using their powers to aid the wounded or the sick in that region. And Professor X is like, all right, well, this area is as ill-equipped as Peter says. Like, we got to rescue this mutant. And meanwhile, the Falcon makes his big entrance flying into this helicopter from Shield that picks him up. And he is very much sporting his MCU look. Yeah, then Falcon is taken to this giant, like high speed helicruiser. Like it's massive. You have like a whole splash page on it.
I don't like the design of the heli. Is it the
It's
helicarrier
ugly.
or the helicruiser?
They call it a helicruiser, which I guess is like more of a giant ship, I guess, than the
I
helicarrier. It looks like a
yeah,
giant actual a boat, like the
it's
Titanic.
it's like an ugly star destroyer. I thought.
Yeah, it does not look good. It's hideous. They spend a whole splash page on this.
I
It's
under
massive, but it's ugly.
I understand the helicarrier. It's like an aircraft carrier in space,
Yeah.
and I really love how the MCU did it. Where like, if you notice, all the different Shield crewmen wear like Navy insignia. Where like like there's the guys in yellow. I'm not saying this is the correct one. I'm just they're bringing the planes in. The guys in purple are the mechanics. The guys in green are the pilots. I like that about the MCU. This is just ugly. I'm like helicarrier
Yeah.
makes sense. This because like and it makes sense because other universes like other franchises have done a helicarrier one way or the other. This is an
Yeah.
ugly ass.
Yeah.
And it's like, why do you have like a battleship in space? Who are you fighting in? It's not even in space in the air. Who else has this?
Yeah, it's hideous. There's no need for this. And honestly, it doesn't really play that well into the story.
Yeah.
It's really just there to be their base of operations where they can brief
Yeah.
everyone on this whole mission.
Maybe it's also really smart. It's about like America's really large military. I don't know. We just have this
Who
giant.
knows?
Yeah.
What a waste.
Yeah.
I think it's in Marvel Ultimate Alliance that Spider-Man's even talking about the helicarrier, and he tells Nick Fury, yeah, this is the biggest waste of taxpayers' dollars I've ever seen. It was so funny. I was like, yeah, tell him.
Yeah. I don't know. Helicarrier kind of sounds kind of cool though.
Anyways, we got to the Blackbird where the X-Men are flying to Tunguska and Peter's explaining like the history to Wolverine and Jean, and he's like, yeah, there's a lot of mutation in this area just because of like all the radiation that comes off of it, probably. And Logan, meanwhile, in the background, it's so funny. He's playing his Game Boy game and he's losing at his game, and he's like, damn.
He probably stole it from Jane.
Yeah, he's like playing as the Hulk or something. Like, it's kind of goofy, but very fun.
That is the other weird thing. Is like, why is there a Game Boy game of the Hulk? Isn't he like a giant monster as far as everyone else is aware?
Yeah, he's like a mass murderer in this universe too. So
That
like
eats people?
that seems like in poor taste. Yeah, he's a cannibal.
And he just jabs his claw through when he
Yeah,
loses.
Wolverine just like sticks his claw through it. While he's doing that, he's saying like, yeah, we're like not the smartest people around, so if we know something's going on over there, like there's no way that other people aren't heading there too. Like there has to be another group of people heading for the same area.
Yeah.
Which is true, because then we cut back to Sam Wilson talking with Nick Fury, Captain America, and Black Widow.
He
And
has this tension with Fury, I believe.
yeah, because he's got a history with Nick Fury because he served under Fury in the army.
Yeah.
And he like salutes him and everything, and he's like, at ease, like you're not in the army again. Steve's like, what, you're not in the army again? And he's like, yeah, I had to do other things I was gonna do. And Steve's like, He's like
Suspicious.
he's throwing shade at him for
Yeah.
not being in the army anymore. I'm like, okay, Ultimate Cap, chill out.
I was like, would you have been in the army after World War II ended, Captain America?
Well, to be fair, Captain America will always find a reason to serve. He's never going to stop fighting. I feel like
But
that's his whole thing
yeah.
until he goes back in time to be with his one true love.
I like that ending. You didn't like that?
Man, lame.
What would
You
you
would really
have?
go all the way back?
I mean, after you made out with her niece, it's a little weird.
It's awkward. Yeah, don't do that.
But like, you're not gonna go all the way back to be with the woman of your dreams.
I'm just saying, like, after living all that life in the modern era and knowing everything you know, you're going to decide to go back after all of that, making new friends,
Do you
building a
like
new
air
life for
conditioning
yourself.
that much?
I love AC, man.
That's because, yeah, that's why I stay away from Texas now.
Well, he's white anyway, so he doesn't have anything to worry about going back to 1945.
I mean, he might get involved in the civil rights movement.
That could help, yeah.
Yeah, but also talking about Captain America, Sam goes, yeah, I'm not calling you Black Widow or Captain America. That's weird, man.
Yeah, and that's just such an eye roll of like, come on, man, just call her Black Widow. Like that's
I wouldn't.
I feel like that just calls back to like this time in the 2000s and early 2010s when like people in media hated calling characters by like their code names or whatever.
It depends on the character. I'm not gonna call like this redhead Russian lady Black Widow. I might call like Captain America because that's different. He's a legend.
That's true. But like, yeah, Fury's like, nope, you can't know her name. Like Black Widow's finally just like, nah, it's Natasha. And he's like, good, that's great.
Yeah. Sam goes like, also like, based on my analysis, Russia is not capable of doing this. It's not a psychic terrorism because our psi division is down. And I'm like, Shield has a psi division?
Yeah, no, I think they've had that since like the 60s in Marvel Comics. They've had a psi division.
They have it in 616. I didn't know. I'm like, in Ultimates, I'm like, where do you guys get psychics from?
I don't know, same place they got Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch, I guess.
Like, yeah, but those are prisoners. They just recruited them, right?
So I guess they got some telepaths that they imprisoned and used that.
And Natasha goes like, oh, maybe it is the Russians. They just don't aware of it. Even Putin doesn't know. And I'm like, oh, it's the deep state theory.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, S.H.I.E.L.D. has me on retainer, but I'm not a member of S.H.I.E.L.D. And what I was doing in the Amazon was taking ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Which was like the big thing in like the 2000s is that like regular media found out about hippies doing ayahuasca in New Mexico and Arizona and Nevada.
Yeah. And he goes on this whole spiel talking about ayahuasca and about what it teaches you and what it tells you and how you could even like communicate with the dead and everything and like from the afterlife. And so that's his whole long-winded way, which is kind of a slog, honestly, to finally explain, yeah, you could be getting messages from the afterlife from these like psychic messages that we keep getting or whatever.
And
or
also,
not psychic messages, but just transmissions.
And also, he wants to figure out how to use ayahuasca to like bring back the dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, I'm like, what is up with this weird ayahuasca like side trip? If anything, it makes him like his disgusting hippie horn dog, is what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somehow, this is like probably the cleanest, least horn doggy comic we have read in all of Ultimate, maybe in that way. And somehow you're still going on about horn dogs. This is a spy thriller set in Russia dealing with the collapse of the Soviet Union, and you're still like, dirty horn dogs.
Yeah, ayahuasca. Like, why did
He
we
said
get?
nothing about sex.
It's the ayahuasca is the implication of sex.
The implication?
It's the implication. I don't
What are
know.
you,
I don't like
Dennis
the
Reynolds?
maybe. No, I
Ridiculous.
just got that joke after I
Yeah.
said maybe, but no, I am really. I think this is like such a weird side rant of like going on this weird. I'm like, did you just go? Did the writer just go on an ayahuasca trip like a month before he wrote this? He goes like, I gotta write it down. I'm just
Yeah,
saying, as someone who's from that world, like ayahuasca trippers and all these tourists doing ayahuasca, when it's just such a like weird. It's just I find it annoying.
from what I've heard about Warren Ellis, I'm sure he did go on an ayahuasca trip.
Yeah.
I
Also,
mean, plenty of other problematic things about him too, but yeah,
yeah, I'm a
that might be the least problematic thing.
and ayahuasca trips are generally like very horn doggy, you know? Like you don't want to see what they do.
How would you know?
No comment.
Anyways, so yeah, Sam also explains to Captain America and everyone, he's like, in my eyes, like as a technician, everything is a machine. Humans are a machine. Think about it. I could create a chemical machine that brings back the dead. And everyone's so impressed by this whole speech he gives about that. Cap's finally like, yeah, you can just call me Steve. You're legit, son.
This is like a well, I agree with him. Not because I want to bring back dead people, but I want the to bring back dead, and because that's like a form of creating life. I think that's really
Yeah.
interesting. But this is a supervillain rant, like technically, it should be.
Yeah, it could be. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, I see what you're saying. He does go very in detail about seeing humans as a machine and everything as a machine, and he can do this stuff. It toes that line. It's like a thank God he's on our side kind of speech, I feel like.
It's also just like I mean like I agree, kind of agree. Like yeah, humans have like this machine quality. Also talking about machines and humans being machines in Russia, isn't that like a famous stand-up line? Is like I am the machine and is in Russia.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that especially.
I love that special. But like I'm like so the good guy in this okay like Steve will go on another similar rant. It's like the heroes in this one go on weird supervillain rants, but about bringing back the dead, fighting
Yeah,
to win.
they seem morally ambiguous in some ways, to say the least.
Yeah.
But then the Ultimates, they detect on the Helicruiser like a bunker in the Tunguska River Valley area, and the bunker has like nuclear landmines underneath it, and they could be set off by like radio transmissions, so they can't have any radio contact when they're underneath and when they
Yeah.
go into the bunker.
I love how they also point out the Russians stole this from the British.
Yeah.
And also, I'm like, nuclear what's the mines just sounds insane, but
Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah,
And the X-Men detect the same thing from the Blackbird. Issue 2 ends with the Ultimates cracking the code to outside the base and determining that it's like an old abandoned Soviet outpost, which is really interesting because as we'll see as we get into this deals a lot with like the fallout and like the collateral damage coming from the fall of the Soviet Union. And then the X-Men arrive shortly thereafter, and Jean is like pissed off that mutants are being kept there. Allegedly, mutants are being kept there. Colossus and Wolverine are like right there and could easily rip the door off or cut it open with Wolverine's claws. But Jean is so mad she uses her telekinetic power to like rip the door off of the wall. And so the issue 2 ends with them entering too.
Issue 3, I believe Steve Epting, you know a bit about him, is the artist.
It's crazy. Steve Epting is a wild choice for a fill-in issue. He's just on this for one issue. I don't know how they got him just for this one, and to have him as the fill-in artist is crazy because Steve Epting is so good. Like, he's known for, Josh, you might know these runs that I list off, but like he was mainly there for like Ed Brubaker's Captain America run. Like, he was the artist on that run for a lot of it. He worked with Jonathan Hickman on his Fantastic Four run as well. So like, known for a lot of really good stuff. I'm sure there's other things I'm missing. You're making your like impressed face, so I guess
yeah. It's
the
also
little
my
like pouty, like squinty-eyed face, just
I
like
call it my De Niro face.
yeah, you're making the Robert De Niro face at me, so it tells me you're impressed.
Yeah, I know those. I know those comics. Yeah, I love Jonathan Hickman's run.
Yeah, and Steve Epting is just an amazing artist. So it's amazing to me that he's just the fill-in artist for issue 3. Because no offense to Trevor Hairsine, who I don't know much about other than like Ultimate 6 and then this miniseries Ultimate Nightmare, but Steve Epting is amazing.
Yeah.
Putting him as the fill-in is crazy. But anyways.
You have thoughts on the like post-Soviet Russian world because I think you studied Russian a bit.
Yeah, no, I took Russian language in my first 2 years of college.
Yeah.
And barely retained any of it, but learning the Cyrillic alphabet was cool. So, and you do learn a bit about the Russian culture as well through those
Yeah,
courses too. And the
yeah,
professors were amazing. So,
yeah. I was in Russian considered like the easiest class at our university for like
it
10 years.
was fairly easy, but also I did learn quite a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, we cut to the issue opens with the Ultimates investigating this base, and they find these old papers that talk about how the staff of this base abandoned the facility in 1994, which was started in 1927, which for those of you who have been listening will remember at the beginning of the story, that's when the soldiers found this crater and were shocked at what they found. So that must have been when they started this base. And it is a big commentary on like after the collapse of the Soviet Union, after the Cold War, around this time in 1994, of course they would abandon the facility. There's not really much left for them to do there.
Yeah.
The pulp government is in shambles. There's a whole restructuring going on.
I love those stories of not just like in fiction and real life of like after this government collapses, like what happens like after the empire collapses in Star Wars or in China or even in the Soviet Union, you just hear stories of like for a while there's like troops or like government workers in this building. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know
Yeah.
if they're getting paid. And I
Yeah.
think in the Soviet Union, the scary thing is like a couple nukes went missing.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
And they still have like the nuclear landmines underneath this base. That's terrifying.
But you also just hear like, oh, like the Soviets found like this technology or like this lab in real life, and then like it's just somewhere out there because like the scientists left it or grabbed
Yeah.
everything, sold it on the market. But same thing, like my family's personal lore is like same thing happened in Korea. Like a few dynasties have collapsed, and like there's just remnants and pockets. Same thing
Yeah.
in like China. If you like hear the stories of like, oh, the empire collapsed, but like it technically existed because these pockets lived on. Or like same with Rome, where like these random pockets just lived on. I just love stories of that.
Yeah, because it's not like things are going to go away overnight just because like all right, war is over, but at the same time now what? What do we do now that like the
Yeah,
empire and the union has just collapsed entirely? You
yeah.
still got to pick up all those little pieces. There's
You
still
gotta,
stuff that like sticks around.
yeah, you gotta figure out if they're still getting paid. There's
Yeah.
also this weird note where Natasha goes, "It's written by the Cheka." She goes, "Stalin spies," and I'm like, "That's wrong. They're Lenin spies.
Yeah, check them on their accuracy. Yeah, be a good
I'll
fact checker.
Cheka them."
But and then the X-Men are traveling around and Wolverine uses his claws to like light a torch for them because he's the only one who can see in the dark.
Cause it's a disgusting animal.
Ultimate Wolverine, yes. I will defend Earth 616 Logan till my dying day.
Isn't it canon that Earth 616 like Wolverine smells really bad?
Yes, but he's also a good man and I love him.
If I smell bad and I'm a good man, you guys would still go like, "Josh, that's disgusting. You'll be single forever. That's gross." But when he does, you go, "I'll defend him to the death."
And he still gets crazy action. He's still got game somehow. He stinks and he should take a shower, but still, he's got the riz. And then the Ultimates are walking around and they encounter there's this like creepy long-haired guy sitting in the dark like laughing to himself. You can't really see his face. He's like in the shadows. And
Great.
yes, Captain America is fully strapped with a rifle in this too as they're walking around.
They all have rifles and they just unload everything into the sky.
Yeah, they're so, like the Ultimates Black Ops squad, they're so trigger happy. Like it's crazy. But at first Natasha does try speaking to him in Russian, and I like how they kind of changed the lettering a little bit just to show that like she's speaking Russian. Usually they do like the little like parentheses around the text just to show that it's a different language in traditional Marvel. But in this one, like the actual letters, it's still the English, like the Latin alphabet, but like the lettering is slightly different, so you
It
can
looks
tell like
Cyrillic a bit, right?
it does look a little Cyrillic, and that's a nice little detail that they add just to show, oh, she's speaking Russian here,
Byzantine language,
as they say,
as they
or I
say.
guess as Josh says. But yeah, the guy starts then like floating in the air and like lightning discharges from him and he has like horns on his head. He looks terrifying. And so they start just shooting him. They start like unloading. They're like the
I'm
cops in Spider-Man.
I'm okay. I'm okay with Captain America with a gun. I think as far as characters with guns go, his is one of the ones that makes sense.
He's a soldier. It makes
Yeah,
sense. I don't
yeah.
like him with a gun all the time, but if he's like in a situation like this or like in World War II, it makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like 616 Captain America will just throw the shield at him over and over again.
Yeah, and I love him for that.
Yeah, he still has a shield, so he uses this to block the The lightning.
He does use it to block the lightning. And then to end the situation, Sam, as the Falcon, unleashes his wings, and Black Widow's like, "Oh, it's a little low in here for you to fly," but he doesn't fly.
He
He
just
just
slaps the
uses
guy,
his metal wings to like slash the guy and cut him, and it works.
and he's on the ground.
And since the guy's got his guard down, they just shoot him and they just kill this guy.
It's insane. I'm like, now's the time to talk to him. They just unload their guns into
I'm
him.
like, I guess the time for talking's over. Jesus.
You know, any other Captain America, MCU or 616, EMH, they all would have like go like, "Son, now's your time to surrender," and they'll like kneel down with the shield or put his
Yeah,
like
not
gently
Ultimate
put.
Captain America.
He just yeah, he murked
This
this
is
guy.
also the Captain America that, like, as soon as Bruce Banner becomes Bruce Banner again after turning into the Hulk, Captain America just kicks him in the face, if you
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah. This Captain America plays dirty.
He does. He does play dirty, and we'll see a little bit more of that later.
Yeah.
But then Sam does an autopsy on
On
this
the spot.
guy. Yeah, like
I
right
think
there. He's ready.
I think that was the trend in like action movies and like spy movies in the 2000s was like, we kill this guy, let's just dissect him like on the spot. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's messed up.
Yeah, well, you do what you gotta do. He's right there. The body's still fresh.
Yeah, that's like something straight out of 24. Have you
But
watched
yeah,
that show?
No, I haven't.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I've also heard that there's some pretty anti-Arab Islamophobic
It's
stuff there,
super
so
like Islamophobic, yeah.
yeah, so I will not be checking it out anytime soon for obvious reasons. But yeah, Sam finds that the horns on this guy were planted on him, so he was experimented on,
Yeah.
and Fury's trying to like reach people on comms, but all that keeps playing back to him is the message that was playing on TV being like, "This is the end, the nightmare is coming." And then the X-Men find this like giant like structural collapse in the tunnels, so like it's blocking their way. And Wolverine's like, "All right, I guess I'll just cut through it." And there's this fun bit of dialogue where he's like, "Jean, you've got telekinesis, you could move it. Colossus, you're a big mellow guy, but I guess I'll just cut my way through it. I'm not supposed to kill people, I'm not supposed to hurt people, but if you need me to cut through a piece of metal, that's fine." And
This
he's just
Wolverine's
so
kind of
done with it.
bitchy.
Yeah, he is pretty bitchy, and I kind of like that. It's really
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
And the structure then comes alive and turns into a giant soldier, which to me looks like Crimson Dynamo. And I know you Josh said it might look more like Juggernaut or
Well, it
like
looks like the ultimate juggernaut for what we saw
a little
before.
bit. Yeah, we've seen Ultimate Juggernaut though. This seems more like to me their version of Crimson Dynamo, which
Yeah,
does
you're
make
probably
sense
right.
because he is a Russian villain and he did originate during like the time of the Cold War in the Soviet
Yeah.
Union. It looks like the Crimson Dynamo armor.
It's the Soviet copy of Iron Man, this Crimson
Yeah.
Dynamo's thing, right? Yeah.
No, exactly. And that
Yeah.
a lot of the basis for like 60s Iron Man was like Iron Man fighting like the commies and like the commies trying to like make their own Iron Man technology like Crimson Dynamo.
If you're gonna reboot Iron Man again, you'll go back to that because I don't know, things went full circle again.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah, honestly, at this point. But then Colossus armors up and tries talking to the guy while he's like fighting him, but the guy just like slams Colossus so hard that they crash underground. And the
And
issue ends with all of them like underground.
Colossus has this a good quote where he goes, "I don't want to beat you, my friend." The guy smashes him, and Colossus goes, "I might die."
Yeah, yeah. So they're in dire straits at this point. They're deep in it.
Yeah.
We start the next issue, and Steve Epting is sadly not on art anymore. That was just
Yeah.
a one issue thing. But
Yeah.
Black Widow reveals to Captain America that, hey, guess what? This was another attempt to replicate the super soldier serum using the device that caused this explosion in this Tunguska River Valley. Like, great. Just like take a drink every time like they try to replicate the super soldier formula in Ultimate Marvel. You will die.
I mean, it's also the main theme of the MCU for like the first two arcs, wasn't it? Was everyone just trying to replicate the super soldier serum?
And a lot of that is based off of Ultimate Marvel too, where they're
I
constantly just trying to replicate the super soldier serum.
At a certain point, you go like, should we replicate this? It's like it only worked. I mean, in the MCU at least, it worked like 6 times, but still.
At a certain point, you just throw in the towel with
Yeah.
Ultimate. Like, guys, we're creating monsters here. This guy had horns. Like, this guy looked like the Crimson Dynamo. He was
We
a
created
monster.
this demonic guy who shoots fire out of his hands, the Green Goblin.
Yeah. Like, maybe it's just not happening. Maybe this is just no good. Like,
And
Venom, Carnage, like, come on.
Natasha reveals, yeah, the Soviet Union found this place, and then after World War II, they're like, we found out about Captain America. What if you guys have more Captains America?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because by the Cold War, Captain America had vanished. He was like on ice, literally. He was in suspended animation. But the USSR was like,
you guys
well,
could
they
make
could
more.
have more. Yeah, who knows? So they wanted to get ahead of that.
Yeah, and in 616, they did make more.
And it's kind of rude because Black Widow's like, this is all your fault, Captain. And I was like, damn, what did he. Come on, man.
He could have said no to drugs.
Yeah. If only you had stayed like a 90-pound weakling from Brooklyn.
Yeah, so doesn't Black Widow have like a super soldier serum of her own and like a variation in 616 now?
Yeah, that might be is it the Infinity Formula? Which
Yeah.
that might, I don't know if she's taken it, but I know Nick Fury took it and Mockingbird took it where like your aging is stalled, so you'll live like a really long time.
Wait, so the girl that Hawkeye's with might be super old compared to him, technically.
Well, she took it like pretty recently, like back in like the Bendis era of like New Avengers. Anyways, then the X-Men find a whole prison of super soldiers now that they're underground. Like a
It's
lot of Russian super soldiers.
it's kind of like the Winter Soldier in the comics, where like I don't know which came first, the Winter Soldier comic or this, where like it's revealed like the Soviets have been trying to do their own super soldier serum.
That is a good question, honestly. I think I
Yeah,
might look that up real quick. But yes, it is very similar to that.
it's very also reminiscent of the Marvel MCU Civil War movie, where it's revealed that like the Soviet Union just had a bunch of super soldiers like iced up in this room
Yes.
that
No,
that
exactly
everyone,
like that.
yeah, that they just kind of forgot about, which is funny, just like this.
And then Zemo just kills them all, which is great.
Good on Zemo. I
Yeah.
like MCU Zemo. He seems like a chill guy that you can hang out with.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than his like Nazi counterparts from 616, so
Yeah,
there's that.
yeah.
Oh, this was like right before, yeah, this was a year before the Winter Soldier who appeared in 2005, and then Ultimate Nightmare was in 2004, so this was a little before that.
Oh, interesting. I do know the guy who wrote Winter Soldier did not get a lot of money for Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Ed Brubaker. Yeah, he talked about that. He got screwed over for sure.
Yeah, he got a free ticket to the Winter Soldier movie, if that makes you all feel better.
He got a cameo too, but
Really?
like,
Who did he play?
yeah, he was like in the lab. He was one of the doctors who was working with the Winter Soldier when like Alexander Pierce is talking to him and trying to like, get him to focus.
Yeah. Colossus, when they find all those, I'm just gonna call the Winter Soldiers, he goes like, he tells them in Russian, it's okay, guys. We're gonna get you out. We think there's a mutant there, but you guys can all be free. And the one of the super soldiers goes like, it's a nice Russian boy.
Yeah, and then he's being very sarcastic though, because then he like grabs Colossus and starts squeezing him.
And
And
screams,
Colossus is like, all right, I tried to be nice.
but he screams, lying feces from your mother's burst anus.
I'm like, yeah, that's some nasty trash talk. That's like being on the playground once again. But yeah, it's a big fight scene. The X-Men start fighting these like failed super soldier attempts. And then meanwhile, with the Ultimates, a bunch of like giant hands pop out from the ground underneath and try to grab the Ultimates. And Falcon's also like, damn, that's like 6 hands, but I saw like one set of eyes. So that's all coming from one person.
Just because these aren't specifically, they weren't trying to create the super soldier serum. They're trying to create like a counter to Captain America. And it's like, they found something in the asteroid that they've been putting into these people's blood.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So to be fair, it wasn't specifically the super soldier serum, but they did want to make more Captain America lookalikes or act-alikes or what have you.
yeah. And Captain America's a little butthurt about saying, it's your fault. She goes like, Black Widow goes, you gotta appreciate Russian humor.
Yeah, she's like, it's a Russian thing. You have to be Russian to appreciate the humor.
I don't think that's how it works, Natasha, but okay.
Then Jean opens up the ground beneath the X-Men so that all the like super soldiers fall in. And Jean does go on a whole spiel that like, let's say hypothetically that there would be a mutant here. She's like, it would be horrible for a mutant child to grow up here. And like the screaming in my head has been growing louder and louder, so someone's really suffering down here. And they
Yeah.
still think it's a mutant.
I also don't like the implication that these like super soldiers have been like just banging each other for like 30 years.
Of course you don't.
Well, look, she says it's bad for a mutant soldier to a mutant to be have been conceived here. I'm like, who would conceive a mutant or a person here?
That's fair. Yeah, I can't see any one of these guys having kids down here.
Yeah,
And yeah, but Jean has been really pushing her powers. Like Wolverine's like, yeah, you've burst a blood vessel. You good? Like, and she's like, let's just keep moving. She's
Yeah.
like really set on finding this mutant, supposedly. And the Ultimates are walking down the caverns and they encounter the Red Guardian, who is like the first person they find who actually has been able to like speak and also speak English. This definitely felt like a good basis for MCU Red Guardian because he's like, I've been waiting to fight Captain America for 40 years. And like, just like David Harbour's version from the MCU, which is also like, to be fair, in the 60s, back when Red Guardian was first created, like that was during the Cold War. That was during like the whole Roy Thomas writing the Avengers, like early Avengers, they had Red Guardian being like, I was created to fight Captain America. And it made sense then because this was the height of the Cold War. The Soviet Union was still a thing. But now here, and then even later in the MCU, it just starts to seem sad because I'm like, this guy's been waiting forever to fight Captain America.
Yeah.
He's all washed up. He like is like, I made my own shield, and it's like a pretty shitty shield too.
I didn't think it was shit. I think it was disgusting. It's all fleshy and it has
Yeah,
spikes
it's
on it.
nasty. It's
I'm like,
like,
when I saw it, I thought like, have you been skinning people and just making a shield out of their dead skin?
yeah, it's disgusting. So it's like, as time goes on, it gets sadder and sadder. Similar to like how, as time goes on, Captain America gets further and further from his original time when he's like taken out of the ice and brought into the present day. It's similar to that. Like, as we get further and further from the original Soviet Union, you're like, damn, this guy's been waiting for like 40 years at this point, and now even longer in the MCU. And now in the MCU, he can't even fight Captain America because Captain America's not around anymore.
I did. First of all, David Harbour, great as Red Guardian. But I do like the idea of Red Guardian. Not only was he Captain America's like the counter, like they literally turned him into like the Russian Captain America, where he'd
Yeah,
be in the Kremlin waving with all the Soviet guys, and
yeah.
they made action figures and propaganda of him.
Yeah, oh, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah,
It is really funny how that happened.
yeah. And he says, "I guarded the means of production for 40 years." And I'm like, "Oh, so you still speak like a communist?"
Yes, he's still very much flying those colors. It's all red.
Kind of reminds me of those
Yeah,
the stories of like Japanese soldiers who just weren't aware World War II ended. I'm like, oh, like the Soviet Union's gone, Red Guardian. You could go home now.
yeah. He's like, nah, I gotta guard the means of production, man. It's all about the working class. It's all about Mother Russia, the Soviet Union, and beating Captain America, because we're still in the Cold War. Anyways, then Captain America goes on about how like, well, I fought with Russians in World War II, and you like, I fought alongside them, and you're an insult to the Russians I fought with. And he's like, you know what? Yeah, I'll fight you. And then the others, like Nick Fury and the Falcon and Black Widow, they go to like open the doors behind him. But like a showdown is about to take place. And Jean is getting with the X-Men, she's getting more aggressive and nasty. She's clearly being possessed by the alien from the message. But first she's saying things that are very true, like, oh yeah, Logan, you worked with Magneto and didn't tell me until you went to bed with me. And I was like, yeah, that's true. He is an
Yeah,
asshole. Like, you're
yeah.
right.
He is a perv and a predator, kind of.
I'm like, yeah, first it starts with the truth, and then it's like, no one cares, nothing matters, no escape. And I'm like, oh, she's very much being possessed by this alien message from the beginning.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Or mutant.
Or mutant, probably not, honestly,
Yeah.
at this point. And then Colossus breaks down that same door that the Ultimates were going to go crack, and the X-Men are shocked by what they see, which is the ending to issue 4.
Yeah.
And we're about to find out what it is in the next issue, I promise you guys.
Issue 5 starts with a picture of Captain America fighting Wolverine.
Yeah, that's the cover. And I
Yeah.
noticed that's Jim Chung doing the cover,
Really?
and it's a gorgeous cover, yeah.
Is he the horny artist, right?
No, you might be thinking of, I don't know, like Frank Cho.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Anyways, but I love Frank Cho, but yeah, he is pretty cheesecakey and horny. Anyways, but yeah, that is the cover that teases Captain America fighting Wolverine.
Captain America is still dueling Red Guardian, but they're not fighting, they're just circling.
It's very like old-timey duel of like two men standing in front of each other silently and not doing anything, just circling each other. And Falcon's like, "What is happening?" And Nick Fury's like, "Just get those doors open, man. Don't
Yeah.
worry."
We don't want to fight this guy. And Captain America goes like, "You're crazy, Red Guardian," and then he just kicks him.
Yeah, and so then there's this brutal fight between Captain America and the Red Guardian, and they're like going at it with each other. And then we get this disgusting moment where the Red Guardian tries
Oh,
to hit Captain America with his shield, but Captain America dodges and it breaks. And when the shield breaks, it shows that this was actually attached to Red Guardian's arm. So
Like
you see, like,
biologically.
yeah, so you see, like, as it breaks off, like, parts of his flesh break off, and you see underneath, like, the inner workings of the Red Guardian as it is. So it's a
Yeah.
real nasty piece of body horror, like, just to see exactly what was done to this man when
Yeah.
he was experimented on.
But Captain America earlier said, "I'll beat this guy in 5 minutes." It's not taking 5 minutes.
Yeah, no, they're definitely taking longer than that.
Yeah.
But Sam, Nick, and Black Widow then see a giant robot when they open the doors. Not a giant robot, but like they see like a partial robot. Most of its parts are gone, just like
Yeah.
half of its head and like the torso of this robot that is like elevated and being hung from the ceiling. And they're like, oh my gosh, this was the thing sending the signal. And this is also the thing that's created the super soldiers. Like pieces of this robot have been used and infused and transplanted onto all these soldiers to try and create the next Captain America.
Do you remember the first Transformers movie with Michael Bay?
Oh yeah,
And it's revealed like, oh, we got to the moon with like by disassembling Megatron over and over again.
yeah,
I feel that's
yep,
like this with the robot. Like that's how we got to. I know they don't say this, but I'm like, maybe that's how the Soviets got to space.
yeah. They just disassembled this robot over and over again, like little pieces. That's how they finally made it to the moon.
It's kind of horrible when you consider like this robot, considering it's screaming, is like sentient.
Yeah,
Well,
it is
AI,
terrible.
yeah, AI. We hate AI, but
Yeah, but there's more to this than just AI. This is an alien robot, as we'll find out.
yeah.
That Wolverine and the X-Men then break open the door, and we see their perspective from the end of issue 4 after they open the door. And Jean's like, it wasn't a mutant. This is the guy sending the signals, pointing to the robot. It's not even human. And Wolverine charges at them because he's Wolverine.
I
And
don't know why.
yeah, because it's like, dude, this is Nick Fury, your old buddy. Remember
Yeah,
from the war?
and he goes like, without Iron Man and Thor, this is gonna be easy.
Yeah. And Nick Fury just like whacks him on the head with the butt of his gun.
Calls him like what was it? A little
Yeah.
human dog.
Yeah, little guard dog, yeah. And then Captain America and Red Guardian are still fighting while
And
like the X-Men and the Ultimates are going at it.
and Red Guardian actually makes like the superhero speech where he goes like, I don't just fight, I fight with like the might of the union and the working class. And Captain America just goes like, fighting isn't about pride, it's about winning, and he just beats up Red Guardian. When I'm like,
He fights dirty once again because not only does like he like disregard everything the Red Guardian says about pride and honor and glory and the Union, he disregards that and goes like it's about winning, and he literally like stabs Red Guardian in the chest. Like he's hardcore. Like Ultimate Cap does not fuck around.
also like Sam went on the supervillain rant. Like, I'm not a communist, but the Red Guardian speech was like more heroic than Captain America speech, honestly.
It was very genuine and coming from like a place of like very genuine love for his country and pride, and like in his eyes he is the hero, which is a
Yeah,
good way to write a villain.
yeah.
He believes that what he's doing is right.
But Captain America was like, no, it's about winning. It's like if
Yeah,
Rocky
that's
versus
pretty nasty.
it's like, who does Rocky fight? Like the Russian Drago?
Yes, Drago in
It's
Rocky
like
4.
Rocky versus Drago if it's like reversed, and Drago's the
Yeah.
one going like, it's all about like the people, and Rocky's like, no, it's about winning
Yeah, that would be a very different movie if all Rocky fought for was winning.
and
Nothing
money.
about, yeah. He
No,
gives a
it'll
whole moving speech about how like everyone can change and we can all like come together and be kind to each other and we can all make peace. But if he was just like, I won everybody, and they were like, oh damn,
it would
okay, he
actually
just cares about winning.
it'd be a Soviet movie if like Ivan goes like before fighting Rock, oh Drago before fighting Rock goes like, it's all about the people, and Rock goes, no, it's all about winning and money.
Yeah,
It's like,
Drago would have been the hero if that was the case.
yeah, he also uses steroids just like Drago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Red Guardian and Drago are very similar. That's actually a pretty interesting comparison. Yeah.
yeah. Um, Colossus is kind of nice. He grabs Sam, goes like, I'm not gonna kill you. I'm just gonna crush you until you pass out, and all the air leaves your lungs. And I'm like, that doesn't sound fun, but
Yeah, that doesn't
that's not
sound
cool.
too nice, but yeah, at least
That's
he's not going to kill him.
Sam just pokes out the eyes.
Yeah, because he's like, well, you have to be able to see. If your eyes were metal, you wouldn't be able to see. So Sam just pokes Colossus's eyes. I'm like, damn, they're all fighting dirty here. And then Wolverine's fighting Nick Fury, but then he hears someone yell, hey, Lucky Jim, and it distracts him long enough for this grenade to hit him, and it's Captain America who called him that because again he remembers him from the war, and he's taking advantage of the fact that like Wolverine has vague memories of his past before Weapon X experimented on him. So he gets hit in the face with a grenade by Captain America.
Didn't
And
Captain America do this last time? He goes like, "Hey, Lucky Jim," and he just shot Wolverine's balls off or something.
yeah, yeah, literally. It was the same thing back in Ultimate War. He keeps taking advantage of his poor Logan's memories of World War II that he barely has anymore.
This like is like I feel when Captain America fights Wolverine, it's like a fight where like one guy is like bringing a knife, and the other guy just brings a grenade or a chair.
Yeah, literally. And just like destroys the shit out of him. It's insane.
Yeah,
And then Black Widow has Jean at gunpoint, and they've like pretty much got the X-Men right where they want him as they're explaining to the X-Men what's going on and also like asking this robot like what the situation is. Like Sam also clarifies to the X-Men, he's like, yeah, you guys, you psychics, you misinterpreted these electromagnetic frequencies coming from this robot and you thought it was a telepath, but this is not a mutant after all.
and he goes like, "Did you guys ever bother to double check?"
And he calls them morons, which is like, all right, rude.
It's kind of sad with Sam on this. I don't like the Sam, but like they could have double checked. This would have solved so
That's
much
true.
violence.
This does make the X-Men look like idiots, and like that's not a good look, especially when also the Ultimates are being nasty to them and calling them idiots. So like, come on, man.
Yeah, they should have checked.
Yeah, no, this was not a good look on Professor X or Jean's part. But then it's revealed that this robot is the ultimate version of the Vision,
Yeah,
which is very exciting. And the Vision explains that like he came to Earth like 100 years ago. He was the reason that there was like that giant explosion in the valley. That was the Vision landing, trying to warn Earth. It was like a crash landing that was not intentional, but he was trying to warn Earth about Galactus.
Ga Lak Tus.
Ga Lak Tus, which these three words that really are obviously Galactus, so like
Yeah,
ultimate Galactus, which is very exciting in a moment.
I kind of feel bad for Vision. He's like, "I came here to warn you. You guys kidnapped me and disassembled me."
Experimented on me for like 100 years.
It's like I was trying to help you guys.
Yeah, and like look what the Soviet Union did to me. You guys humans fucking suck. I was trying to help you and stop your world from being devoured, and you
Oh,
just took me apart and made super soldiers.
you know what? Fuck you. I hope Galactus eats you guys.
Yeah, like maybe you all deserve to get eaten after this. Some thank you. Like, I barely have a head, let alone a body.
He says he heals, but the humans, the Soviets, have been just disassembling him over and over again. He just couldn't heal himself because it was just so much pain.
Yeah. And when you put that in perspective, that's a lot of like being torn apart and then trying to put yourself back together.
And it was probably the fact that the Soviet Union collapsed and everyone forgot about this facility, that he even was able to rebuild himself as much as he did. And when they asked him, so when's Galactus coming? I was like, well, he was supposed to come like in 100 years, and I landed 100 years ago, so it's up to you guys. Because I feel it's
so
like, fuck you guys.
You guys have been wasting the last 100 years while you should have been preparing for this world devourer. Have
Yeah.
fun in like 30 seconds when Galactus shows up.
Erase this planet.
And so there's this giant white flash, and they're like, where'd the X-Men go? And Black Widow's like, I hate X-Men. So Jean, Colossus, and Wolverine, they're all gone.
Yeah.
And then outside the bunker, Logan is like dressing down Jean, and she's really irritated and telling him to shut up. But he's like, no way. Like, you guys raced ahead without even thinking. You didn't even check to really see this was a mutant. And now, like, we're in deep shit with S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, way to go, guys.
I mean, there's a good thing. Like, I don't like robots, but I kind of feel bad for Vision. Like,
Yeah.
he came to do the right thing and we punished him for it.
And so then Sam is assigned to like work with Vision and to like learn everything he can and to like examine him because they need to get ready for this Galactus that's going to come.
Yeah.
And we get like a zoom out at the end of the Earth that is like a target, like looking at Earth from a distance. And it says that this is going to be continued in Ultimate Secret, the next big miniseries that continues the Ultimate Galactus trilogy, as this turns out to be.
I believe it is an Avengers, Spider-Man, Fantastic Four crossover.
Ooh, Spider-Man and Fantastic Four, you say? All
Fantastic
right.
Four for sure. I don't know about Spider-Man, but I'm pretty sure it is.
Don't tease me with Spider-Man.
I'm sorry.
You can't I need there to be Spider-Man. Come on, man. You can't just say Spider-Man and tell me there's no Spider-Man.
Do you remember how like Peter Parker in like the original comic became Spider-Man after like a spider bit him after it was zapped?
Yes, yeah.
A few months ago I saw a spider just hanging out on a utility line. If it bit you, it would have zapped you and you could have gotten spider powers.
Well, why didn't you let it bite you?
What if I get zapped?
Well, what if you get spider powers?
Oh, what's the percentage chance I get spider powers?
You know, you're the one who said that you could have gotten spider powers, though. I'll be real. Like you,
Oh,
you
did
said
I?
it. Yeah, play it back like 10 seconds ago. But any final thoughts, Josh, on these issues? That kind of wraps it up for Ultimate Nightmare.
I did think the X Men were not needed, especially because the reason I didn't say in the beginning because I didn't want to spoil it too much. But the ending was basically, oh, if they double checked, they didn't need to go,
Yeah,
which is like, oh, so they just look like complete idiots.
they do look like idiots, and it does seem like just an excuse for a crossover with the X-Men and the Ultimates.
Yeah,
It's a pretty flimsy excuse, yeah.
I don't think they needed the X Men.
And they didn't do too much.
Yeah, like Peter gave some exposition. Wolverine got his ass kicked by Captain America playing dirty.
Yeah. And Jean did show flex a lot of her telekinetic powers and like found she was like the telepathic connection to the Vision.
But also, like, I'm like, okay, but like Jean, you like she had like a like telekinetic connection to the Vision. But the other thing is like, is she and Professor X checked? I'm like, so at any point she could have checked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like insane. Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
It's like it's not a good look for Professor X or Jean. They were
Yeah.
kind of dumb there.
I think there's a reason if this was adapted into the Civil War movie, along with Civil War, that like we didn't need the X Men in that movie. To be fair, like this was before the Fox purchase, but like it just works good as a Captain America story, you know?
Just Ultimate Nightmare.
Yeah, Ultimate Nightmare was a great like Captain America and the spy level characters doing
Yeah,
stuff.
kind of like an Ultimates Black Ops Squad,
Yeah,
like spy thriller story. And
yeah,
you, Josh, have always been petitioning for every superhero team or every team to have a Black Ops team. So
yeah.
there
Okay,
you
but
go.
like
There you go. There you have it.
this is more of like a characters with guns. I don't know. I think that's something I do like about some characters like Punisher, and not that I'm a great big Punisher fan. I'm not. Not that he's a bad character or anything, but like I like some characters like Wolverine,
Mhm.
Captain America, and Punisher because you could have lighthearted stories with them, and also you could just have them like have be all intense, have lots of pockets and guns, just going around shooting zombie-looking people, and it
Yeah,
works. Yeah. Though
that's true.
in this case, Captain America was a little too trigger happy for my taste.
Yeah, and that's Ultimate Captain America for you, I think. He is very trigger happy and a little more bloodthirsty and a
Yeah.
little, yeah, more vicious, I think, than 616 Captain America.
Yeah. He just unloaded his whole. It's like,
Yeah. I think overall it was a pretty fun story though.
oh, it
I
was,
think
yeah.
it was cool how they like incorporated a real life event in, the River Valley from 1908 into the backdrop of the story. I think it's a good like setup for Ultimate Galactus. I think bringing the Vision in was cool, and I loved like just the whole exploration of post USSR Russia and kind of like the fallout of that, and also
Yeah.
just like picking up the pieces of that and what was left behind, like the Red Guardian and all these super soldiers. Exploring that was very interesting, and I like how it gave Russian characters like Black Widow or Colossus the time to shine and be like the experts leading the way and being like, all right, let's actually like figure out what's going on, and I can guide you guys on the culture and the language and the people and things like that. I thought that was cool. And introduction of Ultimate Falcon was great.
I did think, as far as the Ultimates, the Avengers characters, this was the best so far we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed the original Ultimates shamelessly,
But no, it's
but
like, I meant like it's the best in terms of like the characters are. Story wise, I think it was the best, though Ultimates reading it was always fun.
it was fun. Yeah, but yeah, I think this is the best written that they've been for sure.
Yeah. And like you said, it explores a topic we don't really see a lot in American media, like the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Imperial remnants, which I always love.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
totally. I thought that
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, any final thoughts, Josh?
Not at the moment, but I believe we'll see the audience again for Ultimate Secrets, right?
That's right. That's our next episode, Ultimate Secret, the next part in the Ultimate Galactus saga. So that's Ultimate Secret issues 1 through 4 of that miniseries that we'll be going through. So it'll be very exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Josh, in the meantime, where can our listeners email us if they want to talk about the show, the issues we read, comics in general, or pretty much anything?
Ultimate Comics Podcast at gmail.com. That's comics plural, podcast singular. So Ultimate Comics Podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Please reach out to us, and we'd love to read any of your emails on air on an episode that we have next time. But we also have social media. We have our Instagram account, TikTok, and YouTube, all at Ultimate Comics Podcast. So you can like the images of the comics that we post, comics we read on Instagram. We also have Reels and TikToks of little clips from the show. And we also have full episodes with video on YouTube. But until next time, take care, everyone, and make mine Ultimate Marvel. Bye bye.